Good morning, class 7. Today we will start we will start a new chapter, 3 questions. Now you must have seen that if you have any questions in your mind, you go to your father, you go to your mother, you might go to your grandparents also to get answers to those questions. So in this chapter we are going to read about a king who had 3 questions in his mind, and he wanted somebody to answer those questions. Let us see what those questions were and who answered them. A king has 3 questions and he is seeking answers to them. What are the questions? Does the king get what he wants? The thought came to a certain king that he would never fail if he knew 3 things. Listen very carefully, read the chapter very attentively. The chapter is very interesting. The thought came to a certain king that he would never fail if he knew 3 things. The king thought that if I knew 3 things, I would never fail. These 3 things were: what is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? What is the most important thing for him to do? These were the 3 questions. The first question was, what is the right time to begin something, to do some work, to start some work? Second question, which people should he listen to? And third, what is the most important thing for him to do? So he thought that if he gets answers to these 3 questions, he would never fail. The king therefore sent messengers throughout his kingdom, promising a large sum of money to anyone who would answer these 3 questions. So what did he do? He sent a messenger to search for such a person who would answer these 3 questions for the king, and the person who would give answers to these 3 questions, who would satisfy the king, would be rewarded with a large sum of money. Many wise men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. In reply to the first question, some said the king must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly. Only in this way, they said, could he do everything at its proper time. So you are seeing that different people gave different answers to these 3 questions. Others said that it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. The king should notice all that was going on, avoid foolish pleasures, and always do whatever seemed necessary at that time. So everybody had different opinions. One person felt that a timetable should be prepared in advance. The king should make a timetable and follow it strictly. The second person said that it is very difficult to decide things in advance. The king should leave all the pleasures of his life and do whatever seemed necessary at that time. Yet others said that the king needed a council of wise men. Council of wise men means a group of wise men who would help him act at the proper time. So others said that the king should take advice from wise men and do accordingly so that he could do proper things at proper time. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly. He is giving reasons also why he feels that a council of wise men were needed. He said that the council of wise men were needed because king alone could not decide things individually. A single person cannot take all decisions correctly. So if there were wise men to suggest him, to advise him, it will help the king to decide things correctly. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly without help from others the right time for every action. But then others said that there were some things which could be urgent. These things could not wait for the decision of the council. In order to decide the right time for doing something, it is necessary to look into the future. And only magicians could do that. Now see, this is a different kind of opinion which is coming up. This is something totally different. Other people said that it is very difficult to decide things pre-hand. Only magicians can know what is going to happen in the future. So the king should take the advice of magicians. A king therefore would have to go to magicians. In their answers to the second question, some said that the people most necessary to the king were his counselors. Others said the priests. A few others chose doctors, and yet others said that his soldiers were the most necessary. So here also, to the second question, different answers were coming up. Some said that counselors were the most important people to the king. Others said the priests were very important. Some said the doctors were very important. And some said that the soldiers were the most important people. To the third question, some said science. Others chose fighting. And yet others religious worship. As the answers to his questions were so different, the king was not satisfied and gave no reward. The king was not satisfied with any of these answers, and no person was rewarded. Instead, he decided to seek advice of a certain hermit who was widely known for his wisdom. Who is a hermit? A hermit is a person who lives alone and leads a simple life. So the king thought that he should go to a hermit, and he wanted to go to that hermit because the hermit was very popular, very well known for his wisdom. The hermit lived in a wood. Wood means forest. The hermit lived in a wood which he never left. He saw no one but simple people, and so the king put on ordinary clothes, because the king knew that if he will go like a king, the hermit might refuse to meet him. So he dressed up like a simple common man. Before he reached the hermit's hut, the king left his horse with his bodyguard and went on alone. He did not even take his bodyguard because he wanted to present himself like a common man, like an ordinary man. As the king came near the hermit's hut, he saw the hermit digging the ground in front of his hut. He greeted the king and continued digging. The hermit was old and weak, and as he worked, he breathed heavily because he was doing hard work, he was doing physical labor, so he was breathing heavily. The king went up to the hermit and said, "I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you to answer 3 questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? Who are the people I need most? And what affairs are the most important?" So as soon as he meets the hermit, he puts up his 3 questions. The hermit listened to the king, but did not speak. He went on digging. What was he digging? He was digging the ground. "You are tired," Said the king, let me take the spade and work in your place. See, the picture of the spade is made in your book also, children. It is an instrument which is used for digging the ground. So the king requested the hermit to give his spade to him so that the hermit could take some rest, since he was digging for a long time, and the king would be able to help the hermit. The hermit listened to the king but did not speak. He went on digging. You are tired, said the king. Let me take the spade and work in your place. Thanks, said the hermit, giving the king his spade. Then he sat down on the ground. When the king had dug two beds means two patches of ground. He had dug two beds. He stopped and repeated his questions. The hermit gave no answer but stood up, stretching out his hand for the spade, and said, Now you rest and let me work. But the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed, then another. The sun went down behind the trees. That means now it was evening time. And at last the king stuck the spade into the ground and said, I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my questions. If you can give me no answer, tell me so, and I will return home. So, what happened till now? The king was very much disappointed because the hermit was listening to him. He had listened to his 3 questions, but he did not answer them. So the king says that, hermit, if you can't answer my questions, please let me know so that I can return to my home. Here comes someone running, said the hermit. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. The king and the hermit removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief, but the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. So, what did we read in this paragraph? We are seeing that the king helped the wounded man. He cleaned the wound of this man. He covered the wound with his own handkerchief and took good care of him. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. The man felt better and asked for something to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. By this time, the sun had set and the air was cool. The king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into his hut and laid him on the bed. As you can see the picture, how the hermit and the king are helping this wounded man. The king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. The king, tired by his walk and the work he had done, lay down on the floor and slept through the night. When he awoke, it was several minutes before he could remember where he was and who the strange bearded man lying on the bed was. "Forgive me," said the bearded man in a weak voice, when he saw the king was awake. "I do not know you, and I have nothing to forgive you for," said the king. Now the king is not able to understand why is the bearded man asking to forgive him. "You do not know me, but I know you." Who is saying this? The bearded man is saying to the king that you might not know me, but I know you. "I am your enemy. I am that enemy of yours who swore revenge on you because you put my brother to death and seized my property." So what did the bearded man say? The bearded man said that I am your enemy. I am your enemy because you have killed my brother and you wanted to take my property. "I knew you had gone alone to see that hermit, and I made up my mind to kill you on your way home." So why was the bearded man there? The bearded man was there in that forest because he was aware that the king had gone to meet the hermit all alone, without any bodyguards, without any helpers. He was all alone, and the bearded man had decided that when the hermit will return back to his home, he will take his revenge, he will kill him on the way. "But the day passed and you did not return." The king did not return when he was expected to return. "So I left my hiding place and I came upon your bodyguard, who recognized me and wounded me." How was the bearded man wounded? By the bodyguard who was there somewhere, because the king had said that I want to go to the hermit all alone. So the bodyguard was resting somewhere, and when he saw the bearded man, he recognized him that he was the enemy of the king, and he stopped him, so he was wounded. "I escaped from him, but I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. I wished to kill you, and you have saved my life." Now this bearded man is very thankful. Why? Because the king, who was the enemy actually of the bearded man, had taken good care of him. Had he not taken good care of him, the bearded man would have died. "But I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. I wished to kill you, and you have saved my life. Now, if I live, I will serve you as your most faithful servant and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me." Now the bearded man was no more the enemy of the king. He said that since you have saved my life, I will serve you throughout my life as your servant, and I will also advise my sons to serve you throughout their lives. The king was very happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily and to have won him over as a friend. When the king saw all this, when he heard all this, he was very happy that his enemy was now his friend. He not only forgave him, but said he would send his servants and his own doctor to look after him. And he promised to give back the man his property. So, see how things have changed. He not only forgave him, but he also sent his servants and his doctor to look after that bearded man, and he promised to give the bearded man all his property back to him. Leaving the wounded man, the king went out of the hut and looked round for the hermit. Before going away, he wished once more to get answers to his questions. The hermit was on his knees, sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, "For the last time, I beg you to answer my questions, wise man." "You have already been answered," said the hermit, still bending down to the ground and looking up at the king as he stood before him. So, for the last time, when the king is requesting the hermit, "Please answer my questions," what reply did the hermit give? He says that your questions have been answered. How have I been answered? What do you mean? The king is not able to understand. He says, "Who has answered my questions? How have I been answered? I have not understood." "Do you not see?" replied the hermit. "If you had not pitied my weakness yesterday and had not dug these beds for me, you would have gone away. Then that man would have attacked you and you would have wished you had stayed with me. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds, and I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business. Afterwards, when the man ran to us, the most important time was when you were taking care of him, because if you had not dressed his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important man, and what you did for him was your most important business." Have you understood, children, what he says? He says that your questions have been answered. You stayed with me because you wanted to help me in digging the beds. So that moment when you were digging the beds was the most important time, and I was the most important person for you, and digging the beds was the most important business for you at that time. Then afterwards, when that injured man came to them, the most important time was when the king took care of that bearded man, because if he had not taken care of him, he would have died without making peace with him. So the most important man was the bearded man, the wounded man, and to do him good was the most important business. Business here means work. Remember then. Now see, there is a moral teaching in this para. There is only one time that is important, and that time is now. Do you know why the hermit is saying this to the king? The most important time in our life is now. That means the present moment, the present time. Why is he saying so? Because the present time is the only time that is in our control. We cannot bring the past back. We don't know what is going to happen in the future. We have no control over our past and over our future. We have only control over the present time. That is why he is saying that the present moment, the present time is the most important time. It is the most important time because it is the only time we have any power to act. We have control over this time. We can decide what we have to do and do accordingly. The most necessary person is the person you are with at a particular moment, for no one knows what will happen in the future and whether we will meet anyone else. Who is the most important person? The most important person is that person with whom you are with at present, because we don't know what is going to happen in the future. The most important business is to do that person good. What does this mean? The most important business, the most important work that we can do is to do good to that person with whom we are just now, because we were sent into this world for that purpose alone. He is saying that God has sent us on this earth into this world so that we can do good to others. So the most important work, the most important business that we can do is to do good to those people with whom we are spending our present moment. So we should keep these three important things in mind. The most important time is the present time, because it is the only time which is in our control. The most important person is the person with whom we are with at the present time, because we don't know what will happen in the future. And the most important business is to do good to those people with whom we are at the present moment. So with this moral teaching, this beautiful story comes to an end. So now children, I will advise you, read the whole chapter very carefully once again and see the PDF for the question answers which you have to do in your classwork copy. Thank you children.